Hi guys, and welcome to the Norwich vs Sunderland match preview. So Sunderland do go away to Norwich this weekend in what is going to be an incredibly difficult tie, and as you can tell by the title, it's been made even more difficult with the news that Jacques Clarke is going to be out for around 6 weeks. Now, I do find it quite baffling that before the last game, there was a lot of rumours, a lot of speculation and reports that Clarke was out for weeks, and I did report on that. But then we did get the pre-match presser to the game last time out by Dodds, and when that question was posed to him as to whether Clarke was out for X amount of time, Dodds did say, it's just, I don't know why people are saying it's so long. It is literally, it seems like it's going to be, missing one game at best. He should be back next week, being this weekend. And now all of a sudden we've got the news that he's out for 6 weeks. So it's just like, what the hell is going on? Now, I've just watched the pre-match press conference for this game with Dodds, and a few things. Firstly, of course, he did speak about the Jacques Clarke injury, and he did say that after the Birmingham game, he had the 90 minutes, he rolled his ankle, and there was a bit of swelling, but he did think, and from the advice he was given, it did seem like it was just going to be a bit of swelling. It'd go down by the beginning of this week. However, the swelling hasn't gone down, and therefore we were advised to send him to a specialist who have, of course, given the news that he needs to be out for 6 weeks, which it is what it is, and it is terrible, and it is terrifying. I've had the last sort of 24 hours to almost deal with it. I've been at work, so I haven't been able to make a video immediately, but it is almost like dealing with a loss, like you're mourning it, because it's scary, but I find it also exciting to the degree that we need some lads to step up, and we need to see the likes of Mundell, players like that, step up to the plate, and they need to be given a chance, because we've said all season from the beginning, Jacques Clarke, and I've said in so many reviews this season, from the start of the season, we are so heavily reliant on Jacques Clarke, and when he's taken out the team, or if he's not playing well, Sunderland lose, and we have nothing else. But now we're forced to try and find something different, and Dodds did say, and this is what I was going to say as my sort of second point, when I did watch the pre-match presser, the negativity towards Mike Dodds, for me, I think it's ridiculous and it's unacceptable, and I can't sit here and tell anyone how to feel or how to act or how to display their emotion of the team. I can't tell you how to feel, of course not. But before that game against Swansea, everyone was up the Mike Dodds ball. Everyone was right behind him, and even when we saw the lineup and the system for the game, everyone was excited. No one could have predicted that how badly that was going to go, that system. And in all fairness to Mike Dodds, he changed it. After the 25 minutes of an absolute shit show, he changed it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But then straight after that game, it's Dodds is out of his depth, jokingly, like tongue-in-cheek comments saying Beal in and all that kind of shit. It's mental. With every defeat, someone doesn't need to lose the fucking job. Do you know what I mean? And I'm terrible for that. But for Mike Dodds, and I think Mike Dodds, of course, I know people say he's out of his depth and all this kind of shit, and we can't just lead with that negativity for a bloke who he's been given the job till the end of the season. We need to deal with it. We need to come to terms with it. Do we agree with it? That's another thing. Speakman, KLD, they're under a lot of pressure at the moment, and rightly so. That's not me giving them the green light, of course not. But we've got, 12 games left or so, something like that. Let's just get behind the lads. Do it for the lads. And Mike Dodds, I don't think he's a bad bloke at all. I think he has, of course, he has an incredible lack of experience, but he has ideas, he has bravery, he has courage to change and try things, and all we can do is get behind him, in my opinion. I don't want, a lot of people argue the season's over now, particularly now Clarke's out. I don't think we're going to get in the top 6. I'm not stupid enough to think that. I'm not in denial. It could potentially, by some miracle, happen, and everything goes our way, and we win every game coming up, but that's not going to happen, is it? It's just not going to happen. But to just hit every game with, Dodds is out of his depth, or Beal in jokingly and shit like that. I've seen the live chat. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And I'm not in denial. I can see exactly how shit of a situation that we are in at the minute. It's not a nice situation, but it does seem like we are just going to fade off into sort of mid-table, which the thing is, and this is where I agree with people's frustrations with Speakman and KLD, right? If at the beginning of the season, KLD and Speakman came out and said, right, last season, when we got into the playoffs, it was an incredible achievement given we'd just come up from League One. I'll be totally honest, we didn't expect that. That wasn't necessarily our aim, but it happened. It was a bit of an overachievement. This season we're hoping to, for a bit of stability, or if things go our way, we might get in the top 6. Then that's it. Then I think we'd be a bit more understanding with the level of lads that we do have within the squad. There'll be a level of understanding of us being a sort of mid-table finish. But that isn't what KLD or Speakman said. They literally said we'd like to go for automatic promotion and sort of playoffs again at the least. So I can understand everyone's frustration with that. And that's a totally different video for me to do, because I know the ins and outs of that, and I know the frustrations with Speakman and KLD. KLD won't take us to the Premier League, in my opinion. It's not going to happen. Speakman is a different. It's a different thing. Speakman, I believe, has done a lot of good, but there's also been a lot of mistakes in there as well, and I hold my hands up to that. But there has also been a lot of good, and when things go shit, it's very, very easy to solely focus on the negatives and the shit signs that aren't particularly doing well now. But a point that Dodds did make in this pre-match presser, which I totally agree with, he said, it feels for a moment you can only focus on the Jack Clarke injury for a moment, because he needs to focus on the lads that he does have. But also, he said for people, to sort of remember that Jack Clarke 16 months ago, he was nowhere near the Jack Clarke we know now. Nowhere near the Jack Clarke we know now. In fact, in League One, this isn't what he said, but in League One, if you remember, he was struggling to he was coming off the bench all the time. Sometimes he was okay, sometimes he wasn't, incredibly inconsistent. And by playing him and by putting a lot of work into him on the training pitch, he's become what he is today. So we need to give credit for that. But that means that could also work for another player. There could be players that we might not expect to be fantastic that are now going to step up to the plate, put some work into him, get behind him, and we could have another fantastic player. It's not the be-all and end-all of Jack Clarke. As of right now, it does feel like it. But it's just, I feel like I'm being a bit of a happy clapper now, which I know people like to throw that label around. I just feel like it isn't, let's not just throw this season down the shitter and be negative every single game. Yes, of course, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but people saying Dodd's out already after one game and just everything up in the air. I don't know, it is a difficult one because I can understand people's frustrations, but I also just want the lads to be supported through this, because they are young lads, and I agree that we need experience drastically in this squad. And I know that I've gone way off topic here, and I've probably got into a totally separate video, and this isn't necessarily a match preview. But essentially, I can't tell people what to think, can't tell people what to say. Everyone has the right to their own opinion, to say whatever they want on social media. But I just want us to back the lads to the best of our ability. And of course, like I say, when something's shit, I say it's shit. If it's good, I say it's good. It's just the way I am. But let's just get behind these lads. And at the end of the season, then we'll see where we are, and we'll go apeshit at KLD if needs be, which probably is going to be the case. But for now, let's just get behind the lads. That's my opinion. But anyway, getting on to Norwich. Yeah, we'll go on to Norwich. Jesus, I can feel the hate in the comments already. Let's go on to Norwich. An incredibly difficult test. Unbeaten in the last 5. I think they've put away 10 goals. They've scored 10 goals in the last 3 games at home. I think they beat, was it Watford 4-2 recently? They've put some teams to the sword at home. So it isn't going to be an easy test. It isn't going to be an easy game. It's going to be incredibly difficult. Dodds, himself, he said, the 3 at the back thing, which I know went absolutely tits up against Swans. It could work against another team. It'd be interesting to see how he does approach this game. Could we have Ballard back? Hopefully, a bit more steel at the back. And I think we probably need to, in games like this, where we don't have the outlet of Jack Clarke to drag us up the pitch and stuff like that, we probably do need to concede a little bit more possession. But we need to be a lot more thoughtful, and we need to think about a different system and tactically going forward, how to approach teams like Norwich. Not necessarily bending over, but just allowing them and showing that little bit of respect, but then also putting them to the sword in return, because there are players that can do a bit of damage. As much as people like to say everything's shit, we do have some players that can do some damage. They're just in a bit of shit form at the minute. Let's just hope we can bring the best out of him. But I'm going to give you my preferred 11, not what I predict. A lot of people get this confused. They're never going to do that. That's not what it is. It's just what I would prefer to see at the weekend. But something like this, I literally played around 5, 6, 7 times. I couldn't come up with anything. But I've landed on this. So it is a 4 at the back, Yelder at left back, Hume at right back, 09 and Ballard in the middle. Now I've seen a lot of people recently shouting for 09 to be put him in the middle. and then have Sealt and Ballard as a centre-back partnership. I think in the future that will probably end up being the partnership with Sealt and Ballard, and I definitely wouldn't be opposed to that. But I think as of right now, 09 and Ballard, 09 being our captain, I think they'll still have a partnership there. For me, I can understand people's thinking when they say 09, put him in midfield, but we need to remember, he is a centre-back now. As much as people get on him, he is a centre-back now. If you remember, I know some people have short memories, in League One, every time we put him in midfield, he was terrible. I know that his natural position growing up, coming through the youth ranks, coming through academies and playing for Wycombe and other teams, he was always a centre mid. But he's been terrible when we've had him in midfield. So why would it change now in the Championship? I don't think it will. But this is what I would do. So I'd have 09 and Ballard as a centre-back partnership. Daniel to sit in the middle. Evans is back on the grass. He's in full training now, but I think it's going to be quite a while before we do see him. If Evans was available, I would stick him where Dan Neil is, and I'd probably put Dan Neil where Ekwah is and bring Ekwah off. But I think Dan Neil, he is probably the most assured central midfielder in there. I feel more safe with Dan Neil on it rather than Ekwah, who takes 5 touches too many in front of that defence. Let him sit in there, Dan Neil, but then you give the likes of Rigg, who I want to start. It's never going to happen, but I'd love to see Rigg start. It gives Rigg and Ekwah the licence to get forward a little bit, but of course on the defence it can press and we can actually get bodies in the middle. So we'd have that 3 in the middle there because we keep getting overrun in the middle. So I think that would probably be the best we can get there. Now going forward again, if I could drop Barr, I could, but I just can't think of anyone to go on the wings. Rusyn for me, he just doesn't look great on the wing for me. Mundle on the left-hand side, I'd love to see him start there. Barr on the right-hand side, again, wouldn't be my first choice, but he's scored at Norwich before. Can he do it again? And up top, again, it's never going to happen. It's probably going to be Burstow or Rusyn. I'd love to see Lewis Semedo, because he's a big lad. He can make it stick. And if we do resort to hoof-it football and they're pressing us, and we're shit when their team presses us, which Norwich are going to do, we have the outlet to just pump it forward, let it stick to Semedo, and it gives us an opportunity to get Mundle in, barring around him. Ekwah and Rigg can push forward, and Daniel can start pushing into advanced positions as well. I think that's just the team I'll probably go with. I'd feel very safe-ish with that, with the more bodies in midfield as well, rather than just the 2. So that is probably the team I'd go with. I don't really know, to be honest with you. Maybe see how Sheesh in there, but he doesn't really impress me too much from the little bits we've seen of him. But I think that's what I'd go for. What would you go for? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, in terms of my score prediction for the game, although of course I'm saying I want to remain positive and stuff, I can't really see it. I can't really see a result in this one. I am going to go with a 2-0 defeat. Sadly, but that is just my predictions. I would love to see us even just get a point in it, and I want to see us get a nice style of football back in the go, and really perform. If we do lose, we lose, which of course it's almost a defeatist mentality, that, but a losing mentality. But if we start to see us play well without Jacques Clarke, then at least we can take from it that we can play well without Jacques Clarke, if that makes sense. But I am going to go for a 2-0 defeat. I just think Norwich will be too good for us. I'm going to try and be real. I can't see us getting away with anything this weekend. We shall see though. Again, it sounds like I'm being very contradictory, but it's just a prediction. Hopefully I'm massively wrong, of course. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarmy Army. But for now, take care. Stay jammy.